Thank you for joining us for your parkerweather.info tropical update. Just a quick update on a couple things going on. Right now, Tropical Storm Meji or Megi, not quite sure how to pronounce that one, has formed off just to the east of the Philippines, and it looks like a lot of the models are agreeing on a general westward track to the northern island of the Philippines. So right now, and this is courtesy of Weather Underground, right now it's a tropical storm and could potentially become a Category 4 typhoon before making landfall with the northern island of the Philippines. And that actually could be somewhat dangerous for the island, which I'll explain in a second. Well, right now, we're looking at a current AVN color loop of the storm, and you'll notice there's really not much movement with this storm at all. It's moving at about 3 knots to the west. Um, and there's a lot of convection associated with this storm, but not much movement associated with it. Once it gets caught up, though, in some of those upper level winds, it should begin to pick up speed and begin steering off to the Philippines. Right now, we're looking at what is known as the Dvorak infrared channel. And basically, what this is the Dvorak technique is a technique used to look at satellite imagery and label and identify certain features that are in clouds, and basically it will identify features in clouds and be like, oh, well, I've seen that before, and I know that when I see a cloud like this is what usually happens. So it looks at cloud techniques, formations, how they're forming around the center, and uses past data to basically to see how much it's going to strengthen, if it's going to weaken, strengthen, or stay the same. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but that's the most simplistic way of putting it. Well, right now we're looking at the northern island of the Philippines, and these are some of the more populated areas, and there's a lot of crops in this area. There's also a lot of people and population in this area, and that could be a very, very devastating typhoon if it were to hit the northern island. And if you'll notice, the cities of Sagada and Baguio City are located in the more mountainous areas of the northern island, and when a typhoon hits, you could see a lot of potential flash flooding and a lot of loss of life and property associated with this storm. Well, currently this is Paula, just between the Yucatan Peninsula and Cuba, and this is something cool that the hurricane hunters release every time they go out and investigate a storming. You can look at this through Google Earth, the standard KML file. Basically, they release, once they fly out of Mobile, their flight path and their current onboard observations along while they investigate the storm. So it's actually pretty cool. We get rid of the satellite imagery associated with this Google Earth file, and we look at just the path they take, and notice that they have on deck observation systems that are always taking the wind, always taking the pressure. But notice right in the middle of the storm is where they are going through consistently. And while they're inside there, if we zoom in just a little bit, it shows current what are known as dropson data. And they basically drop this off the plane and let it hit the ground and let it go through the eye of the storm. And it's constantly telling you the millibar value, the wind speed, all that kind of stuff. So you can get up to the minute, up to the day, up to minute, up to date information on any storm just by looking at this through Google Earth. So it's actually pretty cool. Well, this is an AVN loop of Paula. You can notice some pretty robust convection on the eastern side, or excuse me, western side of the storm as it makes landfall in Cuba, creating heavy amounts of rain there. But it looks like it's going to hug the northern coast of the country and then begin to fizzle out over the next couple of days as we look at our visible loop as well of the storm. A lot of the models are hinting at a pretty standard location. This is the from the National Weather Service, is the approximate distance of scale of the storm and where they think it's going to go in areas it will affect on Cuba. Basically, hurricane watches for the western coast and then tropical storm for the central western coast. And they think basically it's going to hug the northern shore of Cuba, creating heavy winds, heavy rain, but it's going to be downgraded probably by, I would say, by tomorrow morning to a tropical storm. And then they're getting that from the majority of the models. So it's a 1 right now. I think once it begins to move a little bit more eastward and those heavier bands of convection in that centralized low pressure area get onto the land, it should get downgraded pretty quickly. But the majority of the models are in agreement that it's going to make a eastward track north of Cuba, skirting the land in between Cuba and Florida. So basically, that is just a quick tropical update for today. Log on to parkerweather.blogspot.com for all tropical updates as they are released, and we'll keep you up to date on Paula and Meji, again, Magi, not quite sure, as it makes its way toward the Philippines. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.